edition of New York, New York. JJ Jastremski rocking and rolling right here on a Monday where, despite all the Knicks playoff fever, and despite the fact that we have a game 2 to get ready for, less than 24 hours away against the Atlanta Hawks, riding the wave, riding the high, what we saw on Saturday night. At the moment, the Knicks are not the biggest story in town. And I'm not trying to disparage the Knicks in any way. The reason that is the case, we have now reached a point. Panic is an understatement when it comes to the 2026 New York Mets, who get swept in Chicago. And now count them, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. The New York Mets have lost 11 consecutive games. You want me to say it for you one more time? The Mets have lost 11 straight games. How is that possible? With all of the talent on this roster, to be at this point in time, the fact that the middle of April is now the most insane crisis you could possibly have in a season. Sound the alarm, push the panic button. Everything is fair game and on the table. Just look at this weekend as a whole against the Cubs. It started Friday with as gutless a performance as you're ever going to see. And that was Kodai Senga, who, by the way, should have been brought back to this team because he was an absolute loser down the stretch. They had him in Syracuse because they couldn't count on him over the final 6 weeks of the year. And now all of a sudden, hey, Kodai Senga is going to fix everything. Oh, he's the talk of spring training. That was so gutless. I don't even know where to begin. Gutless from Senga. That's Friday. Get your doors blown off. Saturday, Peralta has the lead, gives up the big home run. Mets go quietly in the night. And then you have Sunday's game. Mets, once again, do nothing on offense. And we'll get to that, and we'll get to where the culprits lie. And there are many on the offensive side. But when you got to that bottom half of the ninth inning, it is a 1-0 game. You're dying to just get out and dodge in Chicago. Just get a win. Have something to feel good about getting on that airplane heading back to New York. And in comes Devin Williams. Mr. Softy made a return on Sunday. And thankfully for the New York Yankee fan, this is why the minute Devin Williams left, I said, hey, not my problem anymore. You could have him. If you want to turn him into the reclamation project, you want to turn him into Milwaukee, Devin Williams, be my guest. No way in the world I wanted him back on the Yankees. And the Yankees have a bullpen problem. So it tells you something that I didn't want him back on the Yankees. That was gutless too. Michael Conforto, of all people, Michael freaking Conforto goes and beats you to tie the game. How about you step up? How about you do your job? How about you go and be the guy that's getting paid $18, $19 million a year and have the Mets at least feeling good about themselves on a Sunday? Williams couldn't do that. And let's be honest with Williams. He's soft. He's talented, but he's soft. The Alonso game, he had problems with the pitch comm. He lost the closer's role multiple times with the Yankees last year. He's soft. Doesn't mean he can't do the job. Doesn't mean his Met tenure is finished. I'm not suggesting that. But I think he could get to Williams. And to me, the way I read him, the bigger the game, the less I trust him. Sorry. That's how I feel. Bigger the game, the less I trust him. Let's not make this all the Devin Williams equation, though. He's part of it. And I thought he was pathetic on Sunday. And he did not do his team a major service because he didn't step up and he didn't bail him out when a closer needs to go and bail out his team. But how about the couple of runners the Mets left on base? Specifically, how about the performance right now with Bo Bichette? I want to remind everybody something. A Bo Bichette who came up in a big situation that could have given you some insurance in this game fails to do the job like he's done for basically the entire month of April. I know he's a tremendous player. He has accomplished a great deal from his tenure and his time with the Toronto Blue Jays. Bichette, for 3 weeks, has been an abomination. How can you argue any other way? The Mets are paying Bo Bichette $42 million a year. I want to remind everybody of that. The Mets are paying Bo Bichette $42 million. He's got 1 homer. He's got 9 ribbies. He's got a 540 OPS, and he's hitting .217. Giving you the month of April that triggers so much PTSD from big stars that have come over to this team that have fallen flat on their face. I'm not willing to say that Bichette is going to do that this year. But where's the production? This is not Brett Beatty not hitting. This is Bo Bichette. This is a guy who's supposed to be a cornerstone of your offense. And you don't need me to run through the laundry list of OPSs and batting average for this team. Vientos at .616. Beatty at .483. You got a hit today. Hallelujah for that. Simeon, who actually had a couple of hits, whoop-de-freaking-do with a .606 OPS. Benj with a .435 OPS in the leadoff spot. And then Lindor with a .600 OPS, who, by the way, is 88 at-bats into the season. He's got 1 dinger and 1 RBI. 1. You wonder why you're in the position that you're in. And I got a major problem with Lindor at the end of this game from a media standpoint. Major problem. I think Lindor's a good guy. I do. Some have this impression that he's a little fake. I like to think he's a nice guy. I do. I think Lindor's a nice guy. Maybe a little fake, but a nice guy. That's the vibe I have from him. You can't, after this game, talk to members of the media, mention the 11-game losing skid, and basically say, hey, we know how angry they're going to be. It's going to be like an us against them type vibe with the crowd. No. That is the wrong approach, Francisco. The right approach is we suck right now. They have every right to give us the business, and we're going to do our darndest to make them believe once again. We're going to do everything in our power to turn those boos into cheers because that's what this city deserves, and that's what this fan base deserves. That is the way you handle the media after the game. This sort of combative us versus them, what is that? What is that? What it is a clueless response. And, Mendoza had a great presser the other day. I watched it after the Dodgers sweep. I thought it was a great presser. Who the hell cares when you're going to get swept and play the way that you did in Chicago, what the manager has to say? And, look, I don't think the Mets want to make a managerial change. I don't think David Stearns wants to make a managerial change. I don't think Steve Cohen wants to make a managerial change. Mets get Soto back this week, and they can't beat up on the Twins and the Rockies, where their season is at the moment. He's not surviving that. Like, if the Mets continue to fall into the abyss, and here's harsh truth. The Atlanta Braves have an 8-game lead in the division. I know it's April. I know it's early. 8-game lead in the division. And here's some more gloomy history for you. For anyone saying, hey, it's April, I don't want, JJ, you're getting nuts, you don't want to overreact. There were 4 teams in the history of baseball to lose 10 games in a row to make the postseason. Last year's Cleveland team was one of those teams. 4. Doesn't mean it can't be done, but 4 in 100-plus years of baseball history, not great. How many teams have lost 11 games in a row and still made the postseason? 3. The 51 Giants, the 82 Braves, Joe Torre managed that team, and the 2017 Los Angeles Dodgers, who got off to a rip-roaring start. You know how many teams have lost 12 in a row and have made the postseason? Do a little homework and a little research on this one. How many teams? 0. 0. So if you think I'm being dramatic, look at the history. It's not on your side. And a month into this season, basically, the Stearns plan of reshaping the team has fallen completely flat. Whether that is guys who have come in, have not performed, Whether that's guys that were already here and have not performed, they have fallen completely flat. You should be on edge. You should be panicked. I'm not being dramatic in saying this. The Mets need a monster homestand this week. They need it. They need a 5-1 or a 6-0 homestand in the absolute worst way. Because despite the fact that it's April, it can get late early. Imagine last year's postseason, or lack thereof. Final 3 months of the year, not getting in, losing a bid to a mediocre Reds team, transforming the team, and starting off like this. Tell you this, folks. Willie Randolph got fired for less. Got fired for less. I know 7-17 in 2007, but this is the continuation. And 08 was nowhere as close to what I'm seeing now. It was mediocre. It was disappointing. Nowhere close. So Carlos Mendoza better be careful. Because another mediocre homestand, I mean, do you reach a point where you just got to do something for the sake of doing something? We shall see. As far as the Yankees, thank goodness for the American League Central. I can't stress that enough. The American League Central continues to be the gift that keeps on giving. It feels like the Yankees can play any of these teams within the American League Central, and they absolutely smoke them. From the Twins, who they've owned for 25 years, to Cleveland, who they've had great success against, to the White Sox, who are absolute peasants. And yeah, you saw it this weekend with the Kansas City Royals. The Yankees got absolutely fat in beating up the Royals. First things first, they finally got their offense in order. And we were all over the fact that Ben Rice has star potential written all over him. What's not to love about Rice? He hits the crap out of the ball. He's got a swing that's perfect for Yankee Stadium. He grinds out at bats. He's got one of the best OPSs in all of baseball. And I love the move that Aaron Boone made on Sunday, saying, you know what? Let's get this guy more at bats. Trent Grisham not hitting. Let's maybe take a little pressure off of him. Let's move Rice into the leadoff spot. Well, Rice homers today in the leadoff spot. And you drop Grisham down in a 5 spot. He homers today. Beautiful. But memo to Aaron Boone. That's a nice move. Don't sit Ben Rice. If it means Stanton's got to play, sit instead of Goldschmidt, so be it. You want to give maintenance days? Fine. Rice got to be in the lineup every single day. Because the second best hitter on this Yankee team. And the way he's performed this year, as crazy as it sounds, he's actually been the best hitter on the Yankee team. But what was the theme of the weekend? Big effort from Rice. Judge comes alive. They win a fun game on Friday, thanks to, of all people, Ryan McMahon. And then they go and lay the smackdown on Saturday and lay the smackdown on Sunday. And they got a great start from Weathers. Weathers pitching into the 8th inning, striking out 8 guys, only walking 1. That's stuff you get fired up about. There's been a lot more good than bad with Ryan Weathers. He's got 3.18 ERA. Look at his K9. Look at how many times he's been able to actually go and get deep into ball games. I think these are real encouraging signs. So the Yankees took a shot on this narrative and notion that they could go and fix Ryan Weathers. And when I say fix, I mean harness. That's really the word I'm looking for. That they can harness Ryan Weathers into maybe a different pitcher than what he was with the Miami Marlins. I've seen results. I'm encouraged by the results. So, good bounce back for the Yankees. You know, they easily could have gotten swept by the Angels in that 4-game series. They win a dramatic game on Friday, and then boom, they use it as a springboard. Now they get the Red Sox slumping. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at Fenway Park. I don't want to give the Red Sox any lease on life. I know it's early. They're not buried yet. But if you remember last year, Yankees kind of woke up the Sox. They won back-to-back series against them. They won 2 or 3 at the stadium after losing the first one. Then the following weekend, they swept the Yankees. And it kind of jump-started their season. I don't want to see the Yankees do that this week. And the big story is going to be Schlittler going up to Boston, who is a local guy, talked a lot of shit, dealt with a lot of shit. That's a fun spot to watch the youngster because you know his adrenaline level is going to be through the roof. Not only trying to follow up what he did in the wild card game, but the idea of shutting up the Fenway faithful. So, Schlittler in Boston in one of these 3 games, fire me up for that. Now, a couple quick thoughts. We did all the Knicks stuff and Dexter Lawrence stuff in our pod 24 hours ago. If you missed it, make sure you download, subscribe, all that good stuff. The YouTube page is up and running. Of course, we're still on Spotify and Apple, so now that I got that housekeeping out of the way, I stand by what I said 24 hours ago. From what I saw in Game 1, I came away thoroughly unimpressed by the Atlanta Hawks. Thoroughly unimpressed. I think they have a depth problem. I think they have a size problem. I think they have a mismatch problem as far as talent is concerned. The Knicks are a much more talented team. The Knicks did not play their A game in any way on Saturday night. Brunson had an amazing first quarter. He didn't play well the rest of the game. It took Towns 3 quarters to get going, and then he was lights out in the fourth quarter. You got good Anunoby, I'll give him that. But this wasn't one of these games where I watched the Knicks where it was, hey, the Knicks in Denver or the Knicks, and I see around the social media and on the Twitter, oh, this is a statement by a team that's showing you the best the Eastern Conference has to offer. No, I look at it and say they played a B or a B-minus game and they still won the game going away. That performance to me was a lot more about the Hawks than it was the Knicks. And I know our friends in Atlanta are going to have a little fun with me if they go and win game 2. I don't give a rat's ass. The Hawks need to go show me they can belong and play in this series. Can they do that? And for the Knicks, I don't want to repeat of what happened in the Detroit series last year. When the Knicks won game 1, they let go of the rope. They ended up losing game 2. I want to see this team drop the hammer. I want this to be an easy first-round series. Because if you're paying attention to what's going on around the NBA playoffs, Boston looked absolutely incredible today. You want to get through this series as quickly as you can so you can start gearing up for what that series is going to be. That's got to be the mindset from Brown, Brunson, and the entire team. Let's make quick work of these guys. And make sure the minds, the bodies, the spirits are right going into the Celtics series. That's my mentality. And how about the Magic taking down Detroit in game 1? Maybe Orlando's going to be a pain in the ass for Detroit. Young team. Still a lot to prove for Cade Cunningham and that group. So a little early postseason adversity for them. We're going to have Connor Rogers on, which I'm super stoked about. We have him on before the draft every single year. And obviously there's a lot to chew on now. The Giants with 2 top 10 picks. They're picking at 5. They're picking at 10. I want one of the Ohio State players at 5. My perfect dream world is to get both of them at 5 and 10. If there's a world where, hey, it's Delane, you could sign me up for that. Tyson obviously getting a lot of smoke. There's a case to be made for a wide receiver. I get it. I don't want Jeremiah Love. That to me is like my big point of emphasis for the Giants. I know the Beatles once said all you need is love. Not New York. Not New York. So we'll run through all the scenarios with the Giants and the Jets with Connor Rogers coming up in a little bit. All right, voicemails. Let's have some fun with these. 917-382-1151. Now, just for everybody's housekeeping, we will be doing a show tomorrow. Now, Nick game is at 8. I'm doing TV at 11. Probably will get on anywhere from 11:15 to 11:30 on YouTube. Follow our YouTube channel. New York with JJ. Search New York, John Jastremski. You should be able to find it. I will tweet it out. I messed up. I didn't link the YouTube with my Twitter. I thought I did. Fat fingers didn't click it. It happens. It will be linked tomorrow, so you should be able to get it right on YouTube. And we're going to post the StreamYard link so that way you can call the show. We had a bunch of people call the show for our first one that we did. Same deal as we do with the Spaces. This is so much cleaner. It is so much better. I am so much more happy with it. I think you guys are going to absolutely love it. So make sure you join us game 2 after Knicks Hawks.